Hello everyone, this is Wiremask YouTube channel, and in this video I'll be telling you why you should start buying more of Bitcoin, and you should probably move your investment. If you have some of your money in the US dollar or in any other currency, you should really consider moving it to Bitcoin. Now, in recent weeks we've been hearing some very disturbing news about banks collapsing, and some very disturbing news out of Russia. The news out of Russia for some time has been very disturbing. Of course, with the war on Ukraine, we've been hearing some news from China, from India, and some from other countries about the US dollar. Now, in case you're not aware, for over 100 years, the world reserve currency has been the US dollar. It has been the currency everyone trades with internationally, and that has sort of given the US dollar this kind of reputation as the strong currency. Now, oil backs up the US dollar, and this oil is Saudi Arabian oil. Now, some weeks ago, the Saudi government decided that they are no longer interested in pleasing the United States, and so the long story short, they decided that they would not trade with the US dollar anymore. So the dollar is backed up by oil, okay, Saudi Arabian oil. Now, the United States have this partnership or agreement with Saudi Arabia. Of course, you know Saudi Arabia are the biggest oil producers in the world, so they sell to everyone. So the US being very smart, they come into the Saudis and they say, okay, we don't want you to sell your oil to anyone if they're not paying with US dollars. So every country that wants to buy oil, and of course every country needs oil, if you're going to buy oil, if you want to do business with the Saudis, you need to do it with US dollar. Now, previously in 1972, 1973, before 1972, 1973, the US dollar was backed up by gold, which means that for every US dollar there is a gold that is backing it up. But in 1972, 73, it was changed from gold to oil, so it was called the petrol dollar, okay, the petrol dollar. So from 1972, 1973, the dollar was backed up by this oil, and this enforcement was made in such a way that anybody that wants to buy oil from the Saudis, who were the largest oil producers, needed to come up with US dollars. So this is where the US dollar gets its strength from. But of course, recently with what's happening in Russia with the war and everything, Russia, China, India, some powerful countries are really beginning to get sick and tired of the constant bullying of the United States. So they are gradually breaking away from using the US dollar to do business. Of course, how the US enforce their deal with the Saudis is any country that says they wouldn't buy with the US dollar, the US government would sanction them or go into their country and invade them or blow them up or something, you know. But then you can't invade China, you can't invade Russia, they have nuclear weapons, okay. So of course they were able to do this for some time, but now with everything that is happening in Europe and in other parts of the world, some countries are really beginning to form an alliance. China, Russia, India, and even including some African countries. Of recent, the IMF has been giving grants to some African countries. This can be seen as lobbying in order to get countries to keep trading with the US dollar. Okay. Now, if you look at the past countries that their currencies have been the world reserve for some time, you can see that these countries actually. Now, if you look at these countries, Portugal, Spain, Netherlands, France, Britain, these were countries whose currency were the gold standard then. They were the world currency that were being used for trade, and each of them, when it got to a particular point, they phased out. Now, the point at which they phased out is where the US dollar is at now. which is about 100 years plus. But each of those countries' currencies lasted 100 years plus, and then it was overthrown by another currency. Now the US dollar is within the range at which each of those currencies was overthrown by another currency. So as at this time, the smartest investment you can make is to start buying Bitcoin. Move your money from US dollar, start buying Bitcoin, start investing in it, start investing in other assets. And of course, I don't mean real estate, because an average person might not be liquid enough to buy real estate, but you can invest in Bitcoin, because the more the US dollar is going to fall. And how it's going to fall is as other countries are gradually rejecting it in the world market, they will be forced to print more. Okay, they'll be forced to print more dollar to be able to keep up. Now this will lead to something called hyperinflation, and the more inflation occurs, the more Bitcoin rises. Right now it's trading around 20-something thousand. Now the more the dollar falls, the more Bitcoin rises. Of course, this is not financial advice, and you also have to go and do your own research, or you can just listen to what I say. Now I repeat, this is not a financial advice. You are free to go and do your own research and check out the information out there and make your own conclusions, but this is what is happening. Countries are gradually dumping the US dollar as a form of legal tender in international business. Now this would lead to a fall in the US dollar, and it will lead to inflation. Now this will mean that dollar is gradually getting useless. If you have money, put it in Bitcoin. Okay, you can easily get your money double your value, because right now Bitcoin is 28,000. We all know what happened in 2001. It got to about 70,000. Bitcoin will get to 100,000. This is not financial advice, but the experts have checked the graph, and it is going to happen. Bitcoin will get to 100,000. So buy your Bitcoin. Forget about landed properties for now. You can get that if you wish to. Of course, you can get landed property. It's very advisable to have to own property, but then as a means to store value and as an investment, get Bitcoin. You would not regret it. This is not financial advice. You can do your own research to see what I mean, and then you can agree with me that the information I'm giving you is correct. Subscribe to my channel and like my video for more videos like this. See you later.